right. Well, I want to welcome everybody who is joining with us right here. This is Team Church Meetup. We're focusing on children's ministry, kids ministry, reaching out to kids online, keeping them engaged during this unique season of church life. And I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. And we'll probably still have more people joining us as we go, but we want to make the most of your time. So for all of you who are here and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we are recording this, and we'll either use some or all of it and post it up online so people can use it again in the future. But basically, welcome. We're so glad to have you guys here. I want to introduce the people who are joining me today. First of all, I'll introduce myself. Not everybody knows who I am. My name is Jody Cameron. I'm on team at Champion Center. I'm part of the Team Church Network, or the Team Church Tribe. And really our goal at Team Church is we want to equip teams to build the local church, and we want to equip them in a way that will actually impact communities for Christ. And so even though our church buildings might be closed, that doesn't mean that the church is closed. And so we can continue to equip churches to continue to impact communities for Christ. Maybe that looks a little differently right now, but that's what we're here to talk about. So I also want to introduce Pastor Nicole is from Champion Center team, and she is actually stepping into kids director for us because our current kids director just had a baby last week. So she is gracefully stepping in to that role while our kids director is on maternity leave. So you can imagine, not only do we have the coronavirus crisis, but we also have our kids director on maternity leave. How are you feeling, Pastor Nicole? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm probably feeling like everybody else. It's a bit of a whirlwind with everything changing moment by moment. But, in the words of Pastor Sheila, we were all made for this moment. So we're good. I'm good.
Good. I also want to introduce some of our Team Church contributors from Skybreak Church. We've got Pastor Danny Green, who is the senior pastor of Skybreak, as well as his son Nathan Green, who's the lead pastor at Skybreak. So why don't you guys both take a couple of moments, just say hello to everybody and get us going from where you're at.
Yeah, Nicole, I feel really good. I just took over the pre-Ks. I have 7 grandchildren, and the old people can't get out, so I just took over the pre-Ks. That's what I'm doing.
There you go. Awesome. There you go.
I'm thankful for this opportunity, and kudos to our team. I have to tell you, and Nathan is here, and others of our team are jumped on just to watch and participate. This is a great thing. I mean, it's not just the auditoriums that are empty, but our classrooms are empty. Our parents are wondering, what are we going to do at home? Schools are closed. And there's some great things that we can do. And so that's what we're here to talk about. Glad to have everybody.
Awesome. Welcome.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Nathan. I'm excited to be able to share what we did and help any way that we can. Obviously, it's pretty crazy going on, and figuring out how to engage with kids is a whole new thing with technology now. But like y'all said, we were made for this. This is the best time for the church to rise. So excited to be a part.
Love it. Well, we're glad to have our panelists here today, as well as glad to have everybody who is signed on watching today. We are doing this webinar style for those of you who are just logged on because we have over 100 people that were registered for this. It looks like we've got about 69 or 70 who are on right now. So we might see that number spike a little bit, but we wanted to do it this way to minimize distractions and get to as much content as possible, but we would still love to hear from you. So let us know where you're from in the chat, and also if you have questions, go ahead and start using that Q&A feature down at the bottom of your screen. There's an area that you can actually start typing in questions, and feel free, if you have something that's been working for you at your church, go ahead and answer that question. It's not just up to us to answer the questions. Just because we're the panelists doesn't mean that we know everything. We're not saying that we're the experts. We're just here to start a conversation, let you know what we're doing, let you know some of the good ideas that we're hearing, what's been working, what hasn't been working. And also we want to get that conversation going with you guys, those of you who are watching today. So use that chat, let people know where you're from, and maybe even try to connect with people who are on as well. And then use that Q&A function. Let us know your questions. But if you have an answer for a question that you see, go ahead and answer it. Don't wait for us just to answer it. Okay, so here we go. These are a couple areas we'll get started with. Sort of the flow of the next few minutes. We'll keep you here until about 2 o'clock on this call. But our goal is we're going to talk through a few things that we've already kind of set out that we feel like we can help with, and then we'll open it up to questions. So that's why those questions are so important. The three main people groups that are really represented in our this kids focused online is obviously the kids, right? Their parents and the team members, all of those volunteers who have been so great with us, Sunday in, Sunday out, different times the church building is open, that they are ministering with the kids, loving on the kids. So we're going to focus for the next few minutes on those three people groups, okay? So let's start with the kids themselves. What are some of the things that Champion Center is doing, that Skybreak is doing right now to sort of adapt to this new moment in time, if you will, to engage kids while we're engaging people online? Whoever wants to jump in first.
You want to talk, Nicole?
Sure, why not? I'm like the expert now. Well, within 1 week, I am an expert. Actually, the beautiful thing is that I used to lead the kids team years ago, so it's kind of a little bit like riding the bike. You know, you get back on and you just keep on trucking along and going. And I just have to say I'm super proud of our team. We have a great group that has been working tirelessly, which I'm sure all of you all could relate. What do we do? How do we connect? How do we keep our kids spiritually fed? How do we love on them? How do we comfort them in this time where they have all of their own, wonders and concerns and, maybe even anger and frustration? They don't get to see their friends anymore. They're not at school. And so we've been talking about all of those things. And there's a couple things that we have done. I mean, obviously, the most obvious one is we're focused on Sundays. What do we do on the weekend to still provide an experience for our kids? And last week, we went down, we looked at our flow that we would normally do for our kids, and we translated that into an online experience. And fortunately for us at Champion Center, we use whatever resources that are out there for our kids. Life Church is a huge resource for us, and everything they offer is free. So essentially what we did last week to keep our kids connected on the Sunday was we provided a doc for our families, and we literally said, parents, here's what you say here. Here's the memory verse. And great, here's the link for kids worship. So the parents got to click on the link. And what was so fun for us is that to the parents, it might have been really unfamiliar, but as soon as the kids saw those worship videos, they were jumping and up and down and excited and knew exactly what to do. And so it's been a real blessing to see our parents be exposed maybe in a deeper way than they've ever been before on what we're actually doing for their kids on the weekend. So for church kids, that's what we did. Sundays, we created a great flow for families. We had links involved. I mean, we even had one church kid who told their parents, I need you to print off the order of service for me because I'm leading church kids at our watch party. And basically, we have a future campus pastor on our hands, I think, because he was ready to roll. He had those kids. When group time came, he was ready for group time. And he clicked the links on the videos, and he had them going. And so for us, really engaging our church kids on the weekends is definitely turned towards digital. But we're looking at everything that we do on a weekend normally, and how do we translate that right now? And at the same time, how do we equip parents to feel like they are really, even if they're not tech savvy, that they can do this. They can help their kids and connect with them through this fun time. So we've just been doing some fun, crazy things. We're not backing down from the fun stuff we do. We do Silly Sunday once a month. And that just looks like it's our way of helping kids bring friends. And last time we did it, I think it was like crazy like headbands or something that they wore. And this month, rather, is a crazy hair day. So we got, Sunday the 29th, we've got crazy hair day going for Silly Sunday. And we're expecting our kids to do it and have fun and getting the word out to our families.
I love that.
That's awesome.
What are you guys doing at Skybreak in this transition?
So we did a lot of the same thing, and kudos to our team as well. Our kids director, she used to be a teacher at our local school, and so she's used to Google Classroom and things like that. And so it really helped with her knowing the idea of how to engage with parents and kids at the same time. And so we just created the same thing. We created a flow. Obviously, our main communication trying to get to parents. So on all of our platforms, whether social media or churchwide email, we were just inundating them with information on how their kids can engage on Sunday service, for instance. And we're doing the same thing. We created an online experience just for the kids. And this past Sunday is a little different than what we're doing for the future weeks. We didn't have like a Facebook page where we could stream it on its own. And so we actually created a Google Doc that we shared through our Instagram page for our kids. They had an Instagram page, but not a Facebook page. And we also put it on our app, the whole kids experience. It was pre-recorded, and there was a sheet to follow per age bracket. So for our early childhood, elementary, 5th and 6th, and then there was a message that we did, I specifically did last summer during our kids takeover experience in our main church service. And the title of it was "Fear is Not the Boss of Me." And it was a real simple message for all of our kids. And I thought, how timely could we just replay that? And so we had a Bible story that was acted out. It was the story of Gideon. I read the scripture, and it got acted out by one of our guys making sound effects and different gestures. It was really fun and entertaining, as well as the message. I just spoke for about 15 minutes, real basic, real simple. But we had worship. We had all that, and they could tune in. There was activities they could do, games they could do. Parents could follow the entire flow and kind of walk through activities, different items to questions to ask their kids of what they learned. This weekend, a little bit different is we've created a Facebook page, and we're already communicating with parents to get on that page. And our teachers, our main lead teachers, are actually hosting the watch parties to engage with those parents of kids that are normally in their classroom. And so that way, even kids can engage in a way on Sunday morning through their own experience while the adult service is going as well.
So you're doing, you said by classroom, so you're doing like different one page for your church ministry, like your kids' church, and then each grouping has its own like folder?
It has so we're doing it through Facebook Premiere. So It's a pre-recorded service that when you premiere it, it's almost like it's a live deal going on. So they don't know it's actually not live. It is live, but pre-recorded on our end.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, so our team figured that out. I was asking the same question earlier. I was like, how did we do that? And he said, through Premiere, you can actually post a video pre-recorded, but it looks as if it's live. And so you can interact. And so our teachers are now engaging with being watch party hosts, and we're building scripts for them and information so that way they can type to those parents and all that. And so they can engage with parents, they can engage with the kids and do some fun stuff that way. And there's games that they can do. So we're doing that this week, this Sunday, and the next few Sundays as this continues. But during the week, we've just been communicating with parents on activities they can do during the week, obviously with school being out. What are some Bible stories? Because, being a stay-at-home homeschooler is a whole new experience for everybody with kids.
Yep.
And what do you do? And so we're just trying to help with schedules, with structure, with activities they can do. Parents that maybe not feel equipped to lead a Bible study, but we give them materials that they could do and lead. So we're just trying to inundate anything. And then we're just resharing some of the stuff we already did. Like you said, Life Church has so much resources. There's a church called New Spring. They have so many resources that you can do for free. Highlands has resources. We use all these, and we just find things that fit with the topics we're going on. And we just utilize it as we need to. Worship, we just use previous worship videos that we've done, lyrical videos, things of that nature. Just trying, like you said, kids know what they are. The adults have no idea what those songs are or the hand gestures, but we got pictures of kids standing in front of a TV or an iPad doing worship and all the hand gestures. And I mean, what better can you get when you see that?
Do you know if we run into any licensing issues when we're trying to stream? Because what are we using, Pastor Nicole? Because last week we had links to YouTube videos, right? Because and then they kind of had to go through each of the different videos. But what are we doing this week that's actually kind of pulling it into one video?
Well, we're taking a little bit of a risk, quite honestly. I mean, we're using all free material and resources that are already out there. We're just sandwiching them all in one big flow. So basically we used, I think, iMovie or something simple. We didn't, everybody knows that right now our media teams are crazy busy, so the kids team's trying to float along as best they can with some support here and there from our media squad. And so we were fortunate to have somebody on our team for kids that has had experience with this. So we're sandwiching it all together and trying to do an individual link for each of the age brackets, like Nathan mentioned earlier. So we've got one for elementary, young elementary, and then our 4th and 5th graders, and then our preschoolers as well. So again, and then what we've done is that in sandwiching it all together, we've created our service flow. So we have done a welcome video from our team. That's unique that they did this week. We've got a game that we filmed and made fun for our families to do, showed them what it looked like, and then creating some margin in that iMovie. So like, okay, for, as a graphic will come up that'll be like, it's game time, and then there's a pause there where the families can connect and do the games, or hopefully we're not like under extreme quarantine yet. Like we can still get together, as healthy people can still get together. So we're really encouraging. When I say watch party for us, we're still doing as much as we can to have them local in people's homes. And so for us, we're really encouraging our kids to, and our families to come together, even if it's just one other family where the kids can see each other, hang out together and have a good time, is something that we're really trying to do. But as far as the copyright thing goes, like I know we used to use Orange Curriculum. I can't remember a couple other names that are out there, but I think in times like this, if we were still linked up with Orange, I would reach out to Orange and I would just say, hey, under the circumstances, how do you feel about us offering this, on a YouTube? Is that a big no-no? And if it is, okay, great. But that doesn't mean that we still can't send it to families. Like if we can get access codes, and potentially send it in an email. So it's not like a mass media that everyone can view from YouTube, but we can still equip our families.
Jody, are you seeing some?
Somebody in the chat has said Orange and Elevate, that they've waived copyright for the time being. So that answers that question. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
Pastor Danny, what were you going to say?
Well, I saw that same
you did? Okay.
chat, and I think the big deal for me would be with parents having their kids at home. Maybe they're having to take off of work, and what do you do? Like we have 7 grands, so there's 3 in one house, 4 in another. I mean, even with one child, what do you do? One example that I know one of our daughter-in-laws did was they're taking a Bible story and they're having the kids become the characters of the Bible story. Mm-hmm. They're acting out the story each day with a different story. Mm-hmm. And then going and doing field trips like in the backyard or a walk down the street that have to do with that, trying to figure out some way to incorporate, activities into the story.
I love that.
So I thought that was a clever idea. I mean, there's all kinds of things. I'm not the most clever person when it comes to that, but keeping kids busy and having fun. Someone asked the question, what's the most important thing that we can do right now? Teach the Bible, help people feel connected, keep our kids engaged. And I just responded, first of all, just comfort the kids. Let them know it's going to be okay. They just need to know they're safe.
Right.
And they need to feel that security. And if you are paranoid as a parent, I think that's the message we want to get out. Yes, it's serious. Yes, we need to have precautionary measures, but it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. So, teaching the Bible is fantastic, but let them know they're comforted first and then bring the scriptures into that would be my response to that one question. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I'm sure some of you that are chatting or that are online have some ideas too. We'd love to hear what you've done because it just benefits all of us if you throw it up on a question or just let us know what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a few more people that have logged in. So, I just want to say welcome to those of you who logged in a little bit late here. We're talking about kids ministry in this online meetup. We're doing it webinar style because we had so much response of people wanting to be a part of this. So to limit distractions, you can only see the panelists here, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. So like Pastor Danny's saying, please use the chat, let us know where you're from, and use the Q&A, ask questions, but also feel free to answer questions. I see T. Curtis, you answered a question from Brooke. Thank you. You guys have ideas too, and we don't know everything. We're not saying that we do, but we're just sharing you what we're doing and what we're learning, and hopefully we can learn together. So, okay, so we're talking about kids. We talked a little bit about what to do on the weekend to engage them. talked a little bit about what we can do during the week, just kind of different ideas. Maybe it's sending a link, videos to watch on, the weekend to make it feel as much like the weekend service as possible, as well as, what we can do for, our kids during the weekday. And then also, let's talk about the parents a little bit. We talked briefly about it, but what can we do specifically for parents? So whether that's equipping them to, have a great online experience for their kids on the weekend, or how we can equip them with ideas and ways just to kind of keep their sanity, if you will. So maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Can I lean on that for just a second? And mine's, you guys are, especially Nicole, some of you and Nate, you're going to have some more maybe details, but my idea, the question is, we have the weekend experience, which is adults church service, and then we have kids church. And so we're going online, who watches what, when? Well, the adults can't go watch church and leave the kids in the other room by themselves. Right. What do they do? So from a perspective of just kind of thinking big picture, I see the plus that children can see something from like big church. They can watch it with their parents, especially if it's not live. Like Nate, you talked about, some of this is pre-recorded, so whenever you click on it, it becomes live for you. So could we watch the adult service together and let our kids experience, maybe the senior pastor or a lead pastor that they don't normally get to hear? And then parents can also sit down with the children and learn from the children's ministry some of the things that they wouldn't normally get to see and hear, because they're going to be a part of what kids are doing. And like I know on our email we sent out today with resources ramping up for this week, we have coloring pages that they can print off if they have a printer. There's notes and songs and all kinds of things that your parents are going to want to engage in. So I think that would be my contribution at this point. Is some are saying, well, do we do both at the same time? I would say no. I would bring the kids in, let them watch adult church for a little bit, and then do it the other way around. I think it'd be good for all of our families, because how many kids never see the lead pastor, and how many parents never know what goes on in kids ministry?
Right.
So, just my thoughts.
Those are great.
I 100% agree with you on that one. I think we saw a lot of families do that last week, where parents are with kids. We had a little guy at our place, and he was watching with us, and then he had his fun too. And I think it was great for all of us to be exposed. When you're talking about like the parent side of things, so we decided we would do Move Life Forward Home Edition for our church parents and church kid parents. And this looks like every week we're focusing on three things. One is resources and tools. So how do we resource mom and dads with things like we're scouring right now, and we're grabbing from school districts, even free resources that, like, even educational tools. Maybe, there's like ABC Mouse used to be a subscription. Now it's free. I mean, there's a lot of things that are available. So we're looking at resource and tools for parents, from like books that we can, parenting books that we can recommend. Mom and dad get kids in bed at night. Here you go. Like Kevin Leeman's written a book, like how to like parent your kids, or like get your kids to mind without losing your own, or something similar like that. We're just figuring out whatever we can do to help parents right now. And also simple things like schedule. I was a classroom teacher before I moved into ministry, and kids thrive with schedule. And when they don't have like a schedule of some sort during the day, it's chaos and out of control. And something as simple as saying we wake up at the same time every day. We have breakfast at time. After breakfast, we go and then we have a playtime. And then right before snack, we clean up. And then after snack, we have, a silly time, or maybe that's the devotional time that we do with our kids. And then it's lunch. And then after lunch, we have quiet time. So whether you're a napping kid or not, you're on your bed for 1 hour reading, and here's some books for you to read. And, or it's iPads with ABC Mouse or whatever it is. But we're really helping families. We want to be practical too, and offering like schedules. We also want to equip them with fun activities. I love what you said, Pastor Danny, about the backyard. We're creating a backyard scavenger hunt, and it rains up here in the Northwest. We don't care. As parents, you put your rain boots on, you get out there and get outside and enjoy that fresh, clean air. And we thought about families even that are healthy and can come together. maybe kids aren't going to parks, but we have a lot of walking trails around here where kids can get together and do walking trails. Or, and then the last thing that we want to do is introduce some fun food items, some ways that parents can do some fun food, some silly food with their kids throughout the week. If that's cutting apples in a certain way and making funny faces out of them, or, funny, silly pancakes. There's something to help just equip moms and dads to say, okay, like this week, this is what we're going to do, and helping them know what's available, like subscriptions to books, like some book clubs that are really inexpensive that you could get books sent to your house, something that maybe in the past would have been like, ugh, a book, we have to wait for a book to come to our house, but hey, we got nothing but time right now. So waiting for a book to come could be a really exciting thing.
Yeah.
Hey, do kids even know how to make homemade Jell-O anymore?
Right?
You have to wait on it to chill.
Do parents know how?
It's
fun. I don't even know if I can remember how to make homemade Jell-O.
That's cheap. They're 30 cents a box or something, and you can make a whole bowl, and kids can have fun with it. Like you said, Nicole, it's going to be a little bit of work, but have fun with it and just chill. You're going to have to take a chill pill, parents, and
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, good stuff. I can think of all the fun things I could do with my grandkids.
I like it. Okay, so resourcing parents, we'll get in, maybe we can share a little bit more of the practical stuff in a few moments. I want to get through this last people group to talk about, and then we'll get to some of these questions that are coming in. Keep giving us your questions in that Q&A area. And if you have answers to those questions, go ahead and give people your answer, type it out there. We'll get to them as well, as many as we can. This other people group that comes into play when we're talking about kids ministry is the volunteers. Those kids ministry volunteers, first of all, they're probably getting a much needed break, because if you're anything like most churches, those kids ministry volunteers have been serving, at least once a month, if not twice a month, for a while. So, and some every single week, which is another challenge for us, right? But what are some things that we can do in this season while we don't have the classroom space for them to serve in? What are we doing to actively engage those volunteers that we already have? And then have we thought about what can we do to actually recruit and train and build the team so that when we do sort of have this grand opening, again, whatever date that ends up being in the future, that we're stronger than we were before this whole thing happened. So let's take a few minutes and talk about that.
I heard a phrase that said that all staff and all volunteers have now become the new church online team.
Yes.
And
I know that's what we've done at Champion Center. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've been reaching out to all of our volunteers in general, not just kids, but all of them, and trying to get in touch with them in different ways and to encourage them that the new way of volunteering right now in this season is to continue to engage as best as you can socially through social media and the other platforms that we use. And so sharing and reposting and participating in the watch parties and engaging in conversation, specifically for kids, we're encouraging them to reach out to those families that have their kids that are in their classroom, and just seeing how they're doing and talking to them, because it's a familiar face. We have a guy that's been a part of our church for quite some time. He's been serving in our pre-K area for over 15 years. Close to 20 years. And his name is Mr. Mike. And everyone knows, if you've been through pre-K, you know Mr. Mike. He walks through church with a Mickey Mouse bubble blower every time to get kids to follow him to go to kids' church. This guy is just amazing. But encouraging people like that, when you hear that voice or you can see that face and engage, those kids light up and they think about church and they think about what they've learned. And so we've just encouraged through some practical things like that, through texting families, emailing families, phone calls, as best you try to get that social engagement that you can, and just encourage them. The best way to serve right now is engagement online. And so we're just trying to keep it simple and go into the basics.
Yeah.
Obviously, your new classroom is a watch party, or your new classroom is jumping online or shooting an email or making that phone call. So those are some of just the practical things we've done, along with an at-home guide for parents. That's just kind of what we're trying to get to those parents as best we can.
In addition to everything that Nathan said, one of the things that we're doing too is to help our volunteers stay connected to one another too. There's a couple apps that we use. One of them is called Group Me. Yeah, and Group Me are teams, like our preschool director, she's constantly texting through GroupMe, hey, church kids family, how are you doing? And in that time, I mean, they're asking, how can we help? And we're empowering them, hey, own our social media with us, get the word out with us, like things, ask things, repost things. They're hosting watch parties, and this is a time too where we can really pastor them and help them. And they're asking for prayer, or hey, I just heard that my neighbor lost their job, and it's helping us mobilize the hands and feet part of being the church. There's also an app called Marco Polo. It's kind of like the Snapchat for adults, is what I call it. It's like videos and passing forward. So we're using that too, and. We just decided too that today that we're going to work on getting all of our teachers postcards, so that we're going to be mailing a stack of postcards with a list of names to each of our teachers, and then they'll be pre-stamped. All they've got to do is fill them out and let Johnny know that teacher Crystal still sees you and misses you and can't wait till we're back in church again together, and sending them something in the mail, because we're just thinking that mail and getting something physical right now is going to be a big deal to our kids.
Love all those ideas. Pastor Danny, do you have anything to add to what you've heard, or I have a question for you?
Shoot.
Okay, so as a lead pastor, and this might feel like a trick question, but it's not. As a lead pastor, how much, or like a senior pastor of your organization, how much of this has been on your radar before it happens?
That's
like how much are you driving it?
Okay, so the honest truth
if the answer is not at all, then that's a good answer, right?
My answer to you is not at all.
And I want you to tell the people who are on, like, just talk to the people who are on this call, because most of them are kids directors or kids team leaders, core team, and for them to know that, and obviously, Nathan, you might have a little bit more of your hands in it because you're the lead pastor, while Pastor Danny is the senior pastor at Skybreak. But how good does it feel as, the founder of Skybreak to know that all of this is happening with people who are just being proactive and going for it and like ready to just get out there, even if they stumble and make a mistake here or there? How good does it feel as a leader to know that people have your back, have the best interest in mind for the church? Like, just speak some life into this group of people who are like, what am I doing? And am I doing the right thing? And how can I be effective?
You will be the hands and feet of your pastor no greater than in these times right now. And your lead pastor is trying to hear, or your senior pastor is trying to hear a voice from God. They're trying, I didn't speak publicly until today. In fact, it hadn't even went out yet. I finally sat down and shot a little video, my first time public since this thing started. And maybe that's a little slow for some, but I'm just trying to assess what's going on. The beauty of it is, and kudos to Nathan, who is on here, and the team that he is leading. I have had some meetings. I got involved when I needed to, but I made sure that I let them know, here's a few thoughts from me. Don't let me overstep what you have already put in place. I trust what you're doing. Shoot it past me. But the fact of the matter is, I was out of town. Janet and I were on the road, literally, and we rolled in Saturday evening. We had our first online service Sunday. I just sat and watched it at my kitchen table. I didn't do a thing for it, towards it. I mean, I knew it was going on, but I didn't do a thing.
Yep.
The beauty of that is team. So in a crisis moment, and to all of you who are team players, this is when you can rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
You're going to find out leaders are going to show up just automatically right now.
Sure.
So be watching for that. Sam Chan talked about that on a message this morning he put out. Leaders are going to rise. You're going to see who's strong and you're going to see who's not. And so I'm not trying to put anybody in a box here that's maybe watching, but this is your chance to let God use you and be looking for other leaders, volunteers that are going to rise, and they're going to step up. They're going to have the heart of the church, the heart of the pastor, and the vision of the house. So it's been a great comfort to me. Everybody's situation is a little different. You might not have a team. Listen, our team is not that big. And in fact, we look back now as with what's going on, and we're like, wow, look at what God was doing. We didn't even know it, kind of leaning things out because we have to go lean right now. Yeah. We're not sure where this is going to take us. So I want to thank Nathan. I want to thank all of our executive team. They know who they are. And then our workers and our department leaders. So Jody, it's really important as a pastor I'm comfortable. I sit in my office all day today. I prepared 3 messages today.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not all done, but I know I'm trying to think about the next couple of weeks coming up. I could drill down. I didn't worry about all these logistics because Nathan and the team are doing all of that. And so that's how I feel. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking for.
Yeah,
but
no, I think it's just speaking life into this group of people because, they're with all the uncertainties and all the things that are hitting us from different sides, knowing that you being proactive and as a team player and just going for it and, putting ideas out there and then executing those ideas, like that means so much to your leaders. And if they want you to slow down, they'll tell you, right? Like just keep moving forward and keep making an impact and influencing these kids and these parents and these team members. Let's get to some of these questions here. One of the questions that I think we could answer here is, would you recommend kids doing small video chats with their church friends or sending letters? I mean, I think yes. Anything that we can do to get kids to engage. My son has done FaceTime every single day with kids from school or church working on homework. They played a board game. These 3 boys have the same board game. And so they set it up at one kid's house, and then each of them had their own stack of cards at the other houses. And they were literally playing a physical board game together through FaceTime. This generation, more than any other generation, knows how to engage and build community through digital connections. So, I mean, I love that idea of encouraging small video chats with friends or sending snail mail letters. I mean, when was the last time we had our kids write a snail mail letter and send it to a friend? And like Pastor Nicole was saying, I think a physical piece of mail would be pretty special right now in this season. So yes, definitely. Another question that came in was, how are we managing parents who have multiple kids in different age groups? And I think we kind of touched on it, but let's just go back to it and just talk about some of the practical things. Is it a separate link to watch different videos? Is it one, are you guys sending out one catch-all page for parents and then they can kind of find their own link? Is there different Facebook groups? Let's just talk about the really nitty-gritty practical of how we're engaging parents with different age groups represented in their family.
We created the Google Doc that has for all age groups, and it's classified by page, and it has their order of service, if you will, for Sunday morning. So
and that's given that's sent out through email, or do you do email and social? Do you have a place on your website where it lives?
All of it. So we have an Instagram page and a Facebook, so we're putting the links on there in our bios and whatnot. We have our Scribe by Church app, and so on there we created a whole new space just for kids experience. They click that, boom, they hit the link. It opens up a Google Doc that they can view and click links out of. Some of it has attached Life Church videos. Like if Life Church and some of these others have literally the entire service with song, message, Bible time, I mean, everything. And so literally for churches that don't have the means to record or to come up with stuff or write something, don't have the time, can't get together for it, go on Life Church. I think it's open.life.church, and you can just create an account and start downloading everything you see that fits the topic that we need to talk about. And so we've done that. We've sent emails with some of the resources in it. Again, we're just creating a document with all of it on there. We have 3 different age brackets with early childhood, which is from babies all the way up to pre-K, and then kindergarten to 4th grade, our elementary, and then 5th and 6th is an intermediates in our school district here, and we have something just for them. And then even teenagers, we've started doing some things for them as well. So
that's great.
I would say the same thing. Everything that you just described is what we're doing too. We're just relying on that. I think somebody posted up and asked how soon we do it. I wish I could tell you that we had a solid plan on the date of, yes, by this date on Fridays at 5 p.m. you can count on us. I can't commit to that right now. I don't know, because who knows what can change next week, I mean, the fluidity of this, and will we get to come into the office anymore? I don't know. I hope so. So, but right now our goal is definitely, I think that this week's flow, like the doc that Nathan was describing, is already done for us. And I know that the kids team has already sent it off to our media team. So I don't know in that exchange how soon it gets posted, where, when, the links and all of that. That stuff is beyond me. So I do know what happens before Sunday. That's what I do know for sure.
I think last week we had it, I remember we had it, I feel like we had it up by Saturday morning.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I mean, it was really last minute, but
Yeah.
Ours went up Sunday morning at like right before service is when we were actually able to get the link up, because we didn't make the decision on having to lock down and not have physical meetup till Sunday or Saturday, like noon. That decision finally had to get made, and we had to start letting people know.
Yeah, and I think being honest with people too is really important in this season, right? So we have found so much buy-in just by saying, hey, this is what we're dealing with right now. This is our current plan. It could change next week, but this is what we're planning to do at this point. We had a Zoom training call for our women's, formerly known as table hosts, for our small groups, for our on-campus groups. We had a Zoom call for them on Wednesday. Was that yesterday? What day is it? I feel like.
Right? Yes, it was yesterday.
Last night we had a Zoom call. And we just said, hey, this is our current plan. After next week, we'll reevaluate, see where we're at. At some point in this 6-week time frame, we might be able to start meeting on campus again. But if we can't, then this is our plan, moving forward. Let's all just keep our flexi pants on, and basically that's, I think, the more honest we can be and upfront with our people, our kids, our parents, we can speak confidently, we can speak in faith, and also say, hey, we don't know all the answers. We're learning as we go. This is what we know right now, and this is what we're doing right now. But just stay updated, by following our social media or giving us your correct email address, and on the back end, creating systems, creating links, creating lists that help us keep it all organized together. And then getting the message out, getting the word out, and keeping everybody updated as we kind of change directions here if as needed, right?
Can I just add one thought too about the parents? And maybe to all of those of you who are out there right now, I think it's okay to take some risks right now too. I think that at the same time, that there's free resources out there. Do what you can in the short term to get by. But we're taking some risks. Like we got together with the team, and when I say team, we're talking 4 or 5 of us, and we're talking about, okay, we wrote, Pastor Jody and Pastor Kevin worked together and wrote a Mind Monsters book, and we are going back to the Mind Monsters curriculum. We feel like that's going to help our kids right now. So I've empowered some of our kids team, and I said, hey, could we every day at 10 a.m. or somewhere around then, could we post a Devo for families? Could it be as simple as, let's take the faith acronym, and we'll start with F, and it's focus on the positive. All week long, we're going to focus on the positive. And I'm not asking them to write a book. Kids don't want to listen to a book anyways in terms of a Devo. I'm talking less than 5 minutes, and it's an idea or a thought, and it's a challenge to you. How will you focus on the positive today? And it's a prayer. And we're really working hard to empower our parents more than ever before to be spiritual leaders of their home, and letting them know, like, this is our goal. Like yes, we are pastors in the church, and oftentimes we can abdicate even our own spiritual leadership to those that we seem are qualified or have a title. And we're just going to take all that away and say, listen, mom and dad, you are the spiritual leader in your home, and we're going to empower you to also help your kids lead themselves spiritually. So our challenge every day in this devotional will be, get your kids to say the prayer out loud. If they can read it, let them lead your family in that prayer. If they can't read it, then you say it and let the kid repeat after it. But our heart behind all of this is to really empower parents. And so, when I say take risk, we're taking a risk. Tonight, we're going to do a Church Kids Parents Happy Hour on Instagram Live. And it's like bring your own drink, no judgment there, do what you got to do, but bring your own drink on your own, join us, because we want you to know everything that's going on for your kids and for our families, that all the stuff that we've talked about today. It's like, how do we land with that? Yes, we're sending an email out to families, but how fun would it be to, we've got a mascot, Champ the Bear. Champ the Bear is coming to my house tonight, and Champ the Bear is going to help me host Instagram Live, with our church kids and our church families. And we're going to go for it. And I'm going to take a moment to just be pastoral and say to them what I just said to you. Come on, moms and dads. God has appointed you before he ever appointed us to lead your kids spiritually. And you got this. We're equipping you with every tool you need. You just got to walk through that door. And we're believing that while all the chaos is surrounding us, God is going to raise up our families and connect them and unite their hearts in a way that maybe they haven't been before now. This is the good that we can see coming out of this season that we're in right now. And so we're going to do that. We're going to encourage them and hope that we're going to help some parents see themselves differently in all of this too, and say, I got this. I can lead my kids, and the church is helping me do that.
So good. Some other ideas that I've been talking to our Bellevue kids director about, and it's probably gotten pushed through to our other kids as well, but just like for as far as engaging the volunteers from your teams, maybe consider doing a YouVersion Bible reading plan together.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to stay connected. If you've never done that before, it's
Yep.
really easy. You can pick a certain devotional to do. Just do like a short one to get started, right? That it's not intimidating. But if you haven't done it before, the participants who are joining can actually talk it out after you read for that day. And so you can actually share, what's been going on, what stood out to you. And we've done it as location pastors as a team together. I've done it with a couple of our other teams, and it's really a great way to stay connected and build on that spiritual dynamic with your teams as well. One of the questions that came through is Easter. We've got about 11 minutes before our 2:00 time frame. And let's just talk about Easter for a second. Have you guys, I know our team has just started barely talking about Easter.
Yeah.
You feel good about it? As of yesterday, it was like, we're dealing with the urgent, and then we'll get to Easter after we figure this urgent out. But maybe let's just talk about that. What are some of the backup plans for Easter? Obviously, we would love to have that grand opening where we all get together on Easter. But if that doesn't happen, what are some of the backup plans to engage people digitally?
Nathan, you guys got a plan?
Yeah, we've talked about it. We've talked about it twice. That's the first thing I asked when I got home last Saturday. I said, okay, we got 4 weeks to Easter. What if Easter's online?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we just got to get through tomorrow.
True.
Can I tell you, as a lead senior pastor, and I'm not worried about it. I don't want any. I think the key here is don't panic. First of all, God's got this. It's not like it surprises him. I really think that if we get to go back in by Easter, great. We need to talk about those plans. I mean, we're trying to figure that out right now. We're like you, Jody. We've just talked about it. It's kind of like hanging, because we're improving from last week to this week what we did right now. So we're going to do live on, at least this is the plan right now. We're going to do live Sunday. At least the message is going to be live. But I've even had second thoughts about that. Well, let me just go film it tomorrow and then we'll just play it. That's what we did last week. So Easter, though, is good. We're going to do just what we're doing on Sunday right now. And people are going to that have taken the church for granted. I think it's going to be a real eye opener with it. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
As far as kids' Easter goes for us, we're very, very fortunate that we planned ahead already for Easter, and we do a Star Wars themed Easter every year, or at least we have for the last 3 years. And the kids love it so much that we haven't moved off of it yet. And that's our team goes out and they film, there's a Bible lesson, but it's role played through stormtroopers and a Princess Leia. And we've got a Chewie costume, out there too. Somebody's Chewbacca. And we're very fortunate that we've already filmed those. So we're looking at doing if we have to do online again for our kids, it'll just be with a Star Wars theme. So I've asked the team to start, we have 2 people that are just focused on Easter only right now. And so some of those things that I mentioned earlier about our daily devos and our Move Life Forward Home Edition, all of those will be very Easter focused that week with food items and crafts and things that we're going to be sending to parents. We're going to recommend, hey, moms and dads, if you want to, we've got some craft options coming up this week. If you're stuck, maybe order some of these from Amazon, or maybe gather some things together. But our hope is just to, like, we're going to try to film a worship set with we do have some costumes, so we're going to try to film, Chewbacca and stormtroopers leading worship. I mean, we're going to just think out of the box and try to make it as fun as possible. Are we sad that we can't give each kid a lightsaber this year? Yes, we're sad about that. Are we sad that we're not having candy hunts? Yeah. But there's some things that we can do, like we can still do Jedi training. It might look a little different, but we can do some Jedi training from home. And just like, again, I would really encourage people to just keep pressing your teams to think out of the box. We do have 3 weeks left till Easter. And one of the things I said to the kids team today, I said, yes, we're getting through the urgent, and yes, we're getting through the most important things right now. But what I would never want us to do is then be like, oh, okay, we've got systems now that just help us get through this 4 to 6 weeks, however long it'll be. And so now we're just kind of like going through the motions with systems. And I'm saying, no, every week, how do we push ourselves? Doesn't mean we're just like bombarding families so that there's so much. It's like buffet, and there's like 1,000 options and you don't know which one to pick. We're not interested in that, but we are interested in pushing ourselves each week to say, what's a creative way that we can help a parent, or what's a creative way that we can do Easter? What's a creative craft? What helps a mom and dad right now equip them to help lead their kids at home? That's really what we're pushing ourselves to do, because it's all we can really control right now.
Are we going to be uploading that, like those videos, to somewhere that people can see it, or is it mostly on like a private stream somewhere?
Are you talking about for Easter?
Yeah.
We haven't talked about.
We're asking those Star Wars videos if they're available for other churches, or where those.
Well, anything is possible in these days, people. We're gonna work it out. I don't know. I haven't talked to the team yet, but I do know that we're really close. Like in terms of it already, I think they're done with the editing process. So it is a something that we could offer. I got to talk to the powers that be and figure out how far out we are with that time frame. So it's probably something we could just stay tuned to.
Okay. Yeah. If you're interested in that, let us know, and we can do our best to get that information out to you. The person who asked about plans for Easter was specifically about eggs. So we personally, Champion Center, we haven't done eggs for the last few years. We've just done candy hunts because what usually goes inside the eggs is candy. And so we just cut that budget item a few years ago and stopped ordering eggs. We used to have egg filling parties, and we were like, we could save money and save time and not fill all the eggs. And so we just started doing candy hunts a few years ago. So we actually don't have eggs that we've ordered. So I would just venture to put out there, if you've ordered eggs, see if you can return them. And then if we end up having Easter, like in physical locations, consider doing a candy hunt instead of using eggs. Just an idea. If you can't return them, then think of some ways that you can use eggs. Maybe, I don't know, get some creative minds together and figure out. And one idea was do baskets for drop off, or egg hunt in a bag. I mean, I don't know how contagious the virus is, if people would feel comfortable doing that and picking up bags, but kids are going to schools right now and picking up their school lunches, that are being distributed in different parts of the country. So maybe that would be an idea, on Easter Sunday, have them available for pickup and do it that way. So right now, I think what Pastor Nicole said earlier, take a risk. Anything goes. We haven't been strapped with very super strict quarantine yet, although somebody texted me during this call and said that our governor of Washington is doing a press conference at 3 on Pacific time. So we'll see. We might be eating our words about not being but I think it's taking a risk. It's being flexible. It's being adaptable. It's being full of faith. This is not the time to step back. It's the time to step up. And that means that church looks differently. That means that we have to be innovative. That means that we have to be creative. It might mean that we have to rely on other people's, videos or technology for a season, and utilize our, your own church team to forge relational connections through text messaging or phone calls or Marco Polo video chats, or maybe you're not putting out your own curriculum, and that's okay. We don't put out our own curriculum most of the time. We have a couple times a year that we do specific Champion Center produced curriculum, but we utilize other churches' curriculum too. So whatever you have to do in this season, I would say to be innovative, creative, to build faith in our kids, build faith and sanity in our parents, and reach out to those volunteers on your teams. Whatever it looks like, try something new. And if it doesn't work, stop doing it and try something else. And if it does work, please tell all of us what worked and how we can get better. So I'll let you guys each have the last word if you want to add to anything, or if you see a new question you want to answer.
There was a question on the doc that talked about, because you want to know how effective and how many families you're actually reaching.
Yeah.
It's a great resource to know how many people are actually clicking those links and how many people are actually engaging in the things you're putting a lot of work into.
Yep.
Our team just sent to me that we're using something called Rebrandly that we're using for a link for our activities. And every time something is clicked, it lets us know how many times it's been clicked and used. And so it helps us with getting some of those analytics on knowing how much engagement we're actually having on a weekend with these kids' experiences and with these families. So for those that are wanting to know how much, Rebrandly is RE, the word brand, and then LY. That's what they just put on here for me. They're telling me stuff too. So this is the good thing about a team. And being in our position, it's like, help me out here. You know what we're doing. We cast the vision. But anyway, so that way you can know, how much interaction you're actually getting, and knowing if you're really doing a lot of work for very few, so you know how much to get the word. I got to get that word out there because people don't know it's here or it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So.
Jody, from here, if someone has a question that they didn't get answered while we're on the call, or they want to just have someone reach out to a tech and find out answers to questions, do we need to put our emails out there? How do we want to do that?
Well, I'm pretty sure that everybody put their emails on when they signed into chat, so we have that available. But I would say either reach out to people who you see right here in the chat, and maybe get their email from them, or I honestly don't know the answer, other than we're going to try to put all like this video and the different stuff that we're producing on things like our website, as well as Open Network. So like, for instance, our weekend experience will be on our website, and this video and some of the other trainings we've done will be up on Open Network. Jen, I know you're on this call. Maybe you have the answer. Okay, she put it on here. She said, if you have any questions for any of us, like the panelists that you see here, you can email it to teamchurch@cc.church. But if you see anybody else that's on this call that you want to reach out to, just reach out directly to them right here. I know that might feel weird, but these are new times, and let's just be bold. And if you saw somebody answer a question in the area, just reach out to them directly. I reached out to a few people through Instagram direct message, just like, hey, I don't know you, but it looks like you're doing some cool stuff. Can we chat? I listened to Elevation Church, their kids team from Matthews campus had a Facebook Live thing that they did today, and I sent it to some of our kids team because they had some great ideas, and we're just learning from each other. And I think it's time to put our pride aside, if anybody has been dealing with that, and say, you know what, I don't know all the answers. We don't know everything, and we can learn from so many other people in this season. So it will be available on Open Network, which is from Life Church, and we'll have some of our own stuff on championcenter.cc.church. Skybreak, you guys, will you have it available for people like on your website, or is it just mostly for people who are already at your church, like through an emailer? I guess people could follow your social media, right?
Answer that, Nathan.
Yeah, so as far as the resources, they can get it on our website, on our app, any of our social media platforms. It's just Skybreak Kids, and we're just literally putting it in our bio, links and things like that. And feel free to use it. You can have it, rebrand it, whatever you want to do. I mean, we're here to help the big C, the big global church. So.
Yep. The other person who wasn't able to join us last minute is Pastor Erica Parrish. They pastor the Well in Salt Lake City, Utah, and most of you know that they've been hit with an earthquake or two this week, and so we gave her the option to opt out, and she took it just with everything going on. But they've got some great ideas that they've already been doing with their kids ministry, and so she's another great person to look up on social media. see, what their church is doing for kids ministry, because they're about a 6 or 7 year old church. Is that right? And and they've just been kind of adapting and moving and growing with this season of life as a church. So she wasn't able to join us today, but they've got some great ideas. You can reach out to her, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer your questions in between COVID-19 and earthquakes and craziness. So can we pray together? Pastor Danny, would you pray for us and this group of amazing team members, and then we'll let you guys all get out of here.
Thank you. Father, we come to you and we ask you to help us in this season to just stand strong, to just breathe deep, to trust you, Holy Spirit, that you've got this and you're going to help us. And there are no mistakes. There are no decisions that are wrong. We're going to be innovative. We're going to step out. We're going to take risks. Thank you for each person that's tuned in today, that's jumped on here. And I pray that you would help them feel peace and comfort, feel like they're part of a team and a network. None of us are alone. We're in this together to build your church. Give us a great weekend this weekend. And I pray, God, that you would just bless our families, our parents, our churches. We're following you, Holy Spirit, and we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know that you do hold tomorrow. So we're going to walk this out. Thank you, God, that we have the technology to do what we've just done. May it be helpful to as many as possible. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Danny. And thank you again to everybody who joined today. We'll make this available as soon as we can on Open Network, as well as, just staying in touch. We've got more meetups coming next week. So check out teamchurchconference.com/events if you want to be a part of any of the upcoming events. Thank you again to all of our panelists. Thank you for those of you who stuck around with us, and we hope it was helpful. And I love what you said. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know God holds tomorrow. So let's all take that with us today and be blessed this week. Have a great weekend, and let's impact those kids, their parents, and the volunteers. Amen?
Yep.
Amen.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.